Until 1920s. Indian history starts from Vedic era, dated between 100 BC to 1st century. But the excavation of archaeology site, Indus Valley Civilization in 1920, changed the approach of Indian history. Following the Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa excavation, many research have been done in pre-Aryan years. One of the unheeded research in 1951 is A.L. Basham's Ajivikas, a vanished Indian religion. But Ajivika, the identity culture of Tamil race, didn't vanish in India. Tamil term Asivagam is the origin word for Ajivika. Its concepts, philosophy and practices were adapted in various South Indian religions like Saivam, Vaishnavam, and other religions founded during medieval period in India. Those adapted practices were given new terms of meaning with mythological stories. 2,500 years ago, during 5th and 4th century BC, several heterodox philosophical sects were formed in ancient India. One among those philosophical and ascetic movement of Indian subcontinent is Asivagam. Asivaga sect was Nastika by practice, founded by Markali Gosalar. Since Asivagam is a scientifical way of life, it doesn't insist on gods. Asivagam is an anthropology philosophical theory and renunciation of ancient civilized Tamil and non-Aryan people. The main ideology of Asivagam is the human life with less effect to natural well-being, or with combined natural way of life. Asivagam and its saints insist on meditation, to study the astronomy, and to study the life forms of Earth by incorporating an atomic theory. Asivagars were influential during the Mauryan Empire, and the second emperor had an Asivaga fortune teller at court. King Asoka in his 7th pillar edict ranks Asivagam third in importance of the religious groups he patronized after the Buddhists. Asivagars were therefore ahead of the Jains. King Asoka also presented caves to Asivagars as monasteries, the Bar Hill and Nagarjuni Hill. These caves and their inscriptions are probably the oldest excavated ascetic caves in India and impressive evidence of the Asivagam. After Mauryan dynasty period, Asivagam declined in North India but survived in South India until 14th century. Some scholars say Asivagam vanished because Asivaga practice paid importance to the life of a saints and not householder. That's not true. Families leading a marital life practiced Asivagam. Those are mentioned in Tamil literature. Silapathikaram and Manamegalai. Tamil letter Sa, which is pronounced as Ja by North Indian people. The word Asivagam becomes Ajivagam and Ajivika in Pali and Prakrit languages of North India. Samanaphala Sutta is a Buddhist text have collection of scriptures referred as Pali Canon. In that book the text identifies pre-Buddhist Samana schools, identifying them by their leader. Many identified schools of Samana movement detailed in Buddhist text, which includes Asivagam. Asivagam was one of the most popular ascetic traditions in India, outside the fold of Vaithic Indo-Aryan culture. The sect probably allowed life or fate to unfold itself without any interruption from the willful and intentional actions of individuals. Origin of Nastika and Samanam. Kosala and Vaidika are the two regions where Indo-Aryans settled in early times after invasion. Around 6th century BC, Vriji or Vajji confederacy formed among the Lichavi kingdom and its neighboring kingdom, who ruled around the Ganga river. Vriji confederacy of Mahajanapadas includes 16 kingdoms with republic integration. Asivagam flourished during this period, along with other sects Buddhism and Jainism. By the mid of 3rd century BC, Chandragupta Maurya founded a new Gupta empire, counseled by Aryan Chanakya. This disestablished Mahajanapadas along with ancient philosophical sect like Asivagam, Buddhism, and Jainism. Gupta Empire rule paved the way for Indo-Aryans' Yajna culture. Even though Indo-Aryans' Yajna culture flourished in Mauryan Empire, Chandragupta and Bindusara Maurya followed heterodox philosophies for their renunciation. Around 1st century, Mauryan army chief Pushyamitra Shunga assassinated his king Brihadratha Maurya. Pushyamitra Shunga established a first Indo-Aryan empire with their Yajna culture. From there, whoever not believed in Indo-Aryan Vaithic, the Yajna culture, were called Nastikas or Samanas. Nastika. Nowadays the term Nastika used to define atheism, non-believer in God, but the term Nastika actually refers non-believers of Vaithic culture. Which imposes Vaithic Manusmriti, 4 unequal divisions among people. Nastika are sects, or maybe an individual, who do not accept the authority of Vaitha, the system of Manusmriti's unequal divisions and superiority of Indo-Aryans. Included among the Nastika sect schools are the Asivagas, Buddhists, Jains, Savakars, and many other. Samanam. Samanam is not a religion. It's a Nastika philosophical movement against the idiomatic of Vaitha and Indo-Aryans' Yajna culture. Yajna, a ritual sacrifice through fire. Non-believers of Indo-Aryans' Yajna culture were denoted as Samanars. 2000 years ago Samanam movement arose in the circles of mendicants who practiced Asivagam, Buddhism, Jainism and several philosophies in ancient India. They live by begging and have taken a vow of poverty. These sects led to the development of yoga practices, as well as the popular concepts like the cycle of birth and death and moksha, liberation from that cycle. Those are believed in all medieval Indian religions. Diwagarani Gandu, a Tamil literature dictionary written in 8th century, briefs about Samanam. These Tamil text describes Savakars, Arukars, that is Jains, and Asivagar are Samanars. Around 10th century the practices of Savakars and Buddhism reduced in India. Asivagam concepts and practices were adapted in Vaithic religions with new terms and meaning. Jainism is the only religion remained in Samanam movement, so the name Samanars misconnected and referred only Jainism. Samanam. The origin word have two explanation. In Tamil, Amanam means naked, which denotes Asivaga saints, and Sammanam, word which denotes meditation position in yoga. Still, in Tamil culture, this word is in use for denoting the sitting position. Asivagam means the place one gets, fault-free, immediate solution for one's problem. Asu. Immediately when asked, without hesitation. Ivu. Solution. Aham. Place. Asivagam competed and debated with scholars of Buddhism, Jainism, and Vaithic Indo-Aryans. Asivaga philosophers are naked wandering ascetics who believed in predeterminism. In its heydays during the reign of Binjasara around 4th century BC, the sect enjoyed considerable following, but gradually outcasted due to intense prejudice against its doctrine by Indo-Aryans, the Vaithic believers. Tirtha-Vitangar. In Pali and Prakrit language mentioned as Tirthankar. Tirtha-Vitangar are teaching monks or saints who provide solution to problems or proposes anthropology philosophical theory. Tirtha-Vitangar is represented either seated in lotus position or standing in the meditation posture. Tirtha-Vitangar idols look similar, they are differentiated on the basis of symbol or emblem belong to each Tirtha-Vitangar. Tirtha-Vitangars of Asivagam. Rishabhanathar. Also called as Adi Nathar. The masterpiece of world literature written in Tamil language Thirukural mentioned Rishabhanathar as Adi Bhagavan. Historians credits him with teaching, for men, 72 accomplishments including writing and arithmetic, and for women, 64 crafts including pottery, carpentry and weaving. Some scholars have pointed to Pashupati seal in Indus Valley civilization as representation of Rishabhanathar. Pashupati seal resembles with Rishabhanathar's symbol, bull. Parsivanathar. He was the earliest exponent of karma philosophy. Historians have accepted him as a historical figure because of his 4 dharma, the 4 vows: not to kill, not to lie, not to steal, and not to own property. Parsivanathar's symbol is snake. His statues are represented with snake, from one to multi-headed snake. Markali Gosalar, 3rd Tirtha-Vitangar and founder of Asivagam, stands as a witness to the existence of pre-Aryan Tamil society. He born in Tirupattur, located in Tiruchirappalli district of Tamil Nadu. He was a contemporary of Gautama Buddha and Mahavira. Various scriptures in Jain's Bhagavati Sutra and Buddhaghosa have details about Markali Gosalar and his philosophical theory and different views. His practices are mentioned in Tamil Sangam literatures, Silapathikaram, Manamegalai, and Nilakesi. Researcher A.L. Basham finds details of Markali Gosalar in Mahavamsa. Dr. K. Nedunchellian, through his research, finds the crematorium of Markali Gosalar. His statues are represented with elephant. Sixfold path of Asivagam. Bliss, sorrow, birth, death, wages, losses. With these basic inevitables, and by controlling the 6 senses, a human can free his life form and attain moksha. For proposing these, Markali Gosalar was credited with the name Harihara Puthran. Basic philosophy of Asivagam. Asivagam believed in Ul, Kotpadu, destiny theory. Markali Gosalar believed in Vidhi, fatalism. Everything in human life was predetermined, operating out of cosmic principles. Along with Markali, Asivaga philosophers Bakutha Kasha Inar, Purnakaya Par, Pakadakai, Nankanayar, Thol, Kabalar, Kani Athan, P. Davur, Paran Chatan believed and proposed singularity theory, coincidence theory, cosmology theory, atomic theory, A.B. Sadiq theory and many more. How Asivagam differed from Jainism and Buddhism. Jainism and Buddhism believed in karma. Every action viewed as deciding human life fate in future existences. But Asivagam believed in Vidhi Kolkai. Everything in human life was predetermined. Color theory and 7 hierarchy in Asivagam. Based on practices in thought, action, eligibility, knowledge level, determinism and philosophy areas, Asivagars are identified in colors and given honorific names: black, blue, green, red, yellow, white, Each of these 6 hierarchy have another 3 inner levels: starting phase, middle phase, and last phase. Whoever attained or completed these 18 hierarchy levels and attained transparency stage are called Ayanar, Ayan, Nalvelayar, Sathanar, Sasta, and Null. Ayanar. Name meaning. Human gender can be identified by their pulse rate. Asavagars practicing 18 hierarchy levels and attained the top level through yoga and wisdom will be in transparency stage. Transparency in Tamil called as Niramili. By pulse rate their gender cannot be identified either male or female. In Tamil, Ayam means doubt. One who attains the transparency stage and cannot be identified as male or female by their pulse rate are called Ayanar, Ayan, Ayapan. 7 Munigal and 7 Kanagal. Muni, which means Munivar, a scholar who have in-depth knowledge. Muni denotes male deity. Kanagal denotes female deity. Their colors represent their stage level attained through knowledge and wisdom. Each stage Asavaga practitioners are called by their color names. In Tamil culture worship tradition, Ayanar temples have these 7 color deity statues: Karapu Sami, Kali, or Kaftravai, Neeli, Suli, Mayandi, Muniyandi. All these names denotes the color stage of Asivagars. Symbols of Asivagam: Swastika, infinity, double-sided sulam, pentatriangle, ellipsis, mango bunch are the symbols of Asivagam. Common identity symbol of Asivagam is a female deity with 2 elephants. These 2 elephants denotes in-depth knowledge. In Tamil tradition, many temples and houses have this symbolic representation. That architecture work is called Thirunilai. Most important symbol and logo of Asivagam is elephant. The elephant is symbolic representation of knowledge and transparency attained by Asivagars. Elephants have some special qualities: talent, patience, retention, memory power, mental strength. Elephants live in group. And elephants learn everything from their mother. Asavaga practitioners need these qualities to attain transparency stage. Niramili Nile. The trunk represents meditation practices and the long ear represents hearing thought and knowledge from others. In Tamil tradition, while worshipping Pillayar, they mention the term Vinay Thirpavan. That denotes Tirtha Vitangar of Asivagars. Asivagam literary works. With 6 inevitables proposed by Markali Gosala and philosophies of Asivagam. Markali Gosala followers: Sana, Kalantha, Kaniyarasan, Akavi Sayanan, Achunan, Komau Bhutan, popularly called as 6D Sekkara, compiled 8-fold sacred texts. Those are collectively called as Mahanimathankal, Divyam, about divine, Oath Patham, about portents, Antharixam, about sky, Bomam, about earth, Angam, about body, Suvaram, about sound, Ilakanam, about characteristics, Vh Sanam, about indications. Another important script. 1 Patham Kathar, also called Markali Nul, defines and explains Markali Gosala. Most of the Tamil literature and epics are based on basic philosophy of Asivagam. Ul, Kot Padu, Destiny Theory, Thirukural, Tholkappiyam, Silapathikaram, Manamegalai, Purananuru Collection, and medieval literature. Arunkala Seppu. Summary of Asivagam from 1st century BC to 14th century in North India and South India. In North India, after Shunga dynasty establishment in 1st century BC, Indo-Aryans Yajna culture was imposed in all the kingdom. This led to the decline of Asivagam. During the first 10 centuries, the pre-Aryan Indian culture with ancient philosophical theory vanished from the history. Nastika school concepts, findings, inventions, their practices, literary works were rewritten in Sanskrit by Vedic Indo-Aryans. And Aryans represented those stolen things as their own property. Asivagam and Buddhism lost their identity in North India. Jainism survived because of some kings adapted Jainism. Asivagam flourished in South India until 7th century and lasted up to 13th century. Pallava dynasty, imperial Cholas and medieval Pandyas became believers and supporters of Vedic Indo-Aryans Yajna culture. They taxed Asivaga followers heavily in order to rout the religion, even by killing Asivaga saints. Cruelly, like impalement. Kalu Vatram. Saiva devotee Thirunana Sambathar. Killed around 8,000 Asivagars by impalement. Most of the Saiva temples in South India have impalement statues. Many Asivagars are killed. Some of them converted to Shaivam. It was during and after Bhakti movement. Asivaga Siddhars identified themselves as Saiva devotee. Many astronomy facts, research elements, medicine cures are invented by these Asivaga Siddhars. Asivagam after Bhakti movement. Most of the Asivagam concepts, philosophy, deity, symbols were adapted in Saivam and Vaishnavam as Indo-Aryan Vedic culture, against which the Samana movement was happened. The red stage Sris are adapted as Lakshmi, and white stage Sris are adapted as Saraswati. Green stage Sris are adapted as Parvati. Parsivanathar as Vishnu. And tribal linga with Adinathar's bull symbol as Shivan. The symbolic representation of Asivaga elephant were accepted by Shaivates as Pilayar, the son of Shiva. All the symbols, deity, philosophy were given Sanskrit names with fake mythological stories. Naked Asivaga monk statues in South India were mistakenly called as Jains, and Ayanar becomes folk clan and guardian deity. Asivagam schools. Boithi Saththu Var, preacher in Asivagam schools. Mathangan and Mathangi are sadhu monks in Asivaga schools doing duties for preacher. These schools majorly contributed to peoples of those days through medicine, philosophy and education preaching. Asivagars are naked monks. Their cave schools were outside the people living place of village or town. Even nowadays Ayanar, Karupusami, Muni temples were built in entrance or outside the people living town. And they are worshipped as Kabalthe Vam, guardian deity, or Kulathe Vam, clan deity. Asivagars mostly lived in forest and hill regions. Barabar caves in Bihar. Places like Malai Kotai and Sithana Vasal in Tamil Nadu are cave schools of Asivagam. Asivagam practiced in most of the places of South India. As per K. Nedunchellian in his book he pointed. Markali Gosalar, the founder of Asivagam state and attained emancipation in Sithana Vasal of Tamil Nadu. The name of the place itself denotes the honorific name given to Asivagars. Sithana Vasal. Thiru Na Malai. And Nal refers one who attains transparency stage in Asivaga practices. Places in Madurai. Thiruvannamalai. Thiruchirappalli. Sithana Vasal. Narthamalai. Kanyakumari of Tamil Nadu. And many places in South India still have Asivaga cave schools. Ayanar is worshipped in most of the regions of South India. Especially in Tamil culture, each community have Ayanar as their Kulathe Vam, clan deity, or Kabalthe Vam, guardian deity. In the history of South India, the whole region never ruled by a single empire apart from 2-3 kings. Even those kings followed either Vedic Saivam or Vaishnavam. Then how come Ayanar is worshipped by most of the community in South India? Who guided or imposed this form of Ayanar worship? The answer is Asivagam.